Dave and I were just kind of talking about what we saw out there from you guys, day one of minicamp. For you, it's year 4, going into year 4, but year 2 under Mike Macdonald. So what's it like now, having had that full off season and now year 2 here under Coach Macdonald?
Going into year 2 now, I feel like we're all, your feet are settled. You understand what's going on. You understand how he operates. We understand how we operate. So I feel like now the familiarity, getting comfortable with each other and understanding what's going on is the biggest thing I've noticed.
That's a good one. Instead of saying familiarity, you just go a different way.
Oh yeah.
Instead of that was very
very
good.
Sometimes.
You could be
a veteran move.
You could be a radio guy.
One day, what I'm saying?
Dave does that a lot. So.
Hey, so tell us what's different. I was saying that I've seen a lot of things out there, like offensive linemen. There was a drill where they were recovering fumbles. I don't think I've ever seen that, boy. And it just. There's lots of things that watching that wide zone, as far as the offensive linemen, and they're almost like sprinting to the side. I mean, I've seen lots of things that I've never seen before, and it just seems like Pete Carroll was more of like a rep guy, just get as many reps as you can, and just loud music and all that stuff. And then it seems like these are more like it's a classroom out there. Is there a difference as far as how you guys are practicing?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand what you mean by that. I feel like for us, it's like you said, you have to teach yourselves the game. You have to understand situations. If you're just playing football, you're just playing the game. But there's situations in football that you have to be ready for, aware of. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You can't just tell a guy to go out there and just run the ball.
Right.
You got to know, well, it's 2nd and 5. It's 3rd and 2. There's different situations that need different things. How much time is on the clock? Yeah. Do we need to stay in bounds or get out of bounds? Right. So I feel like the thing is that we've really took a lot of time to focus on and hone in on is those situations and knowing and being prepared for those situations. When you're prepared for those situations, instead of being frantic, you're calm, cool, and collected. I've been here before. I've done this before. I know what it's like.
Boy, how much have you gotten to know DeMarcus Lawrence since he's gotten here, and what have you learned from watching someone like him who has played this game at a high level for a long time?
I definitely learned a lot. Obviously talking to him and obviously getting to know him as a person and know him on the field. And I'm seeing that, where that whole high energy mentality is coming from. And obviously there's a lot of things that he's teaching me and I'm learning and just really sitting here and understanding, with someone who has that many years in the NFL, there's a lot of things they've learned. There's a lot of things that they know. You know what I'm saying? It's a different game. They're playing a different game. So, taking in as much as I can and understanding what I can, take from him and use into my own repertoire and add to my own toolbox.
What about guys on the other side of the ball? I was an inside backer, so, me and the guards, I would kind of communicate with hey, what about this move? Or, and we'd kind of share information. Do you do that with Charles?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Because I feel for me, and my mindset is that if I'm not asking them, then I don't understand, because I want to know what their mentality is. Why do they move the way they do? Why do they make their sets? Why do they do all these type of things? So I feel like iron sharpens iron. At the end of the day, if you're not doing that, then you're holding yourself a disservice.
Yeah. So is that you going and seeking them out, or how do you guys kind of merge together? Because, you're broken into position groups, you have so many meetings, you're not always on the same schedule. When do you find time to kind of go talk to them and pick their brains?
There's a lot of time depending between even in game, even in practice, if a play happens and if something happens, I'll look and be okay, how did you do that, or why did you do that? Or even after practice, when the locker room just changing, hey, so when you did this, why, what was this, what was going on, or what was your mindset with it, or did you see what happened with this? So just having those conversations, so every situation that you go to, if he wins a rep or if I win a rep, we're asking each other, what was your mindset, what did you do, for sure.
Yeah, Boye, do you go into a season with goals as far as sack totals and things like that, or is it just kind of I'm going to play as hard as I can and the plays will come to me? I mean, how do you, when you go into a season, do you have some numbers or generally what you want to do or what you want to accomplish the next season?
I feel like for me, I don't really like to put a number or goals on things.
Right.
You don't know what's going to happen. If you sit there and worry about a goal, you may never reach it. But if you tell yourself, I just want to be better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
Over time, you'll start to crescendo. As long as you're always trying to strive to get better, I feel like I had a coach who used to tell me this. I had a saying, and he was like, people always wonder why the ball finds certain people. But he always used to say is, it doesn't find them. They prepared.
Right.
And they took the time, they took the effort to make sure that when the moment came, they're just in the right spot.
Boy, a lot of the things coaches told me you can't repeat on air. But that was back in the 80s and 90s.
Sounds like they're more yelling at you and just coaching Boye up. So maybe it's evolved a little bit. But it's funny, Boye, we were talking, Dave and I, before you got in here, about your 2022 class, how now year 4, it just feels like it's flown by. Do you feel like a veteran? Does it still feel like things are new for you? Or how do you feel now going into year 4 in the league?
I think I just got in like a month ago. I don't know what you mean. Like I feel like I got here a month ago. I remember.
Just heard your name being called.
You know what I'm saying? Year 4 is crazy. I mean, to think about it now, to look back, I mean, time has flying. I thought about it when I came in. Even to this day, I still talk about the guys like, man, look at us. We're all still here. We're all still playing together. And the fact is that we all came in together, and we think about it like this. It's like, man, it's a testament to us. You know, the work. And I remember like it was yesterday when we were rookies and we all were looking at each other and we had meetings and as rookies and talking to each other. And we all looked at each other and told ourselves like, hey, we got to make sure we're ready for it. You know, what's going to happen is going to happen, but just put your foot down and work. And now that I look up and I look around, I mean, I think it shocked me is when the young guys started asking me for advice. I was confused.
You still feel like a rookie. Yeah. Well, physically, that would be a good thing. So Charles Cross, yourself, Kenneth Walker, Abraham Lucas, Kobe Bryant, Reek Woolen. You got sounds like kind of a bond with those guys with your draft class.
For sure. All of us. We're all still really close, really tight. You know, we've been here for 4 years together now, and it's one of those things like, we've seen everything with each other. Our whole careers have been together. So
yeah. Hey, what's been different this year running this offense 2 years in a row? It's always, different when, the first year and you're kind of having to think too much. Is it kind of second nature now for you? How is it kind of a relief?
I feel like there's definitely, I feel like after a year in, going into year 2, that you get into that familiar comfortability of what's going on, and I feel like that honestly makes you play faster once you get comfortable, once you know what's going on. So I look at it as like it's like you said, it's the relief of like, all right, we're in the comfortable area right now, so we know what's going on. Let's go out there and have fun, and then you can take that next level, graduate to algebra 2.
Right.
Boy, last year you had a sack on your now quarterback, Sam Darnold. I don't know if that's what you brought up the first time you met him, but how did that introduction go when you first got to talk to Sam? And did you say, hey, remember when I sacked you last year?
No, we didn't have that conversation. I'm going to wait till he makes me mad to bring that one up. But
have you got a chance to kind of talk to him, though, a little bit and get to know him?
Yeah, of course. Obviously walking into the locker room and, team meetings and stuff, just talking to him. He seems like a great guy. You enjoy having him around. I feel like he's going to be a great presence for the locker room. One of those guys you can really, rally behind and root for. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to have something like that in the building.
Again, as a linebacker, I watched like that wide zone that you guys are running on offense, and it looks really difficult because I just remember, I remember Boomer Esiason was one of those guys that they would run that wide zone, and then, he would pull the ball and play action. I mean, it's really tough on linebackers. What have you noticed about the offense? Has it been noticeable how different it is? And, is it more difficult? It just looks very effective to me.
Yeah, I definitely agree to that standpoint. You're putting the defense in a lot of stress. When you're front loading the play like that, there's a lot of options. You're giving the running back lanes. And I feel like that's the biggest thing I understand or what I've seen is like you give them a chance to give the ball and let the running back do what they do. Right. You have options to decide whatever you want to do on the play.
Well, and the gaps are bigger out there, right?
Exactly. So you have that space to, make something happen.
Right.
How has it been working with Ernest Jones now for kind of, again, like a full off season because he came right in the middle of the year, really helped the defense turn around. What's it been like now getting everyone back on the field and working with him out there?
I feel like it's great. I liked Ernest before he even got here. Me and Ernest worked out in L.A. One of my off seasons, and I got to know him, and I was like, man, I like your game. This is back when he was in L.A., so when we got him, I was excited. I was ecstatic. I told the coaches once I saw that, I was like, we got a good one. And I was excited for him to come out here, and I mean, now that we have the time to really get the understanding, I feel like this is, like I said, this is the thing that we're understanding. It's like, all right, now we are getting to know each other. We're getting to know coaches. And now we're understanding how we operate and getting that comfortable situation where you understand, like, okay, this is how you like to do things. This is how I like to do things. So let's make it work for the both of us.
Last year, right in the middle of the season, I feel like a lot of coaches would have waited till the end of the year. Mm-hmm. But Macdonald decided to move on from the two inside backers and then brought Ernest in here, and then Tyrese Knight steps up. Well, and then you guys it was like night and day almost as far as the defense. What was that like? I mean, could you feel that happening? And, what was the biggest part of that transformation? Was it Ernest Jones, or did you guys finally just start to get the defense down, or what was that like? Because it really was like so different. I mean, remember the first time you guys played the Niners, it looked like, us playing the Niners the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, they're just incredibly, great offense, but that last game, you guys just kept them in check. So what was the biggest difference in your mind?
For me, I feel like the biggest difference was, like you said, I feel like as a defense, there's a point, because it was right around when we had right before or right after the bye week. Yeah. And I feel like as a defense, we all looked at each other and was like, look, if the choice is ours, either we're going to, tuck our tails and walk away with the season, or we're going to, buck up and get ready for the rest of it. So I feel like we took that turn and we realized like what we could be, right before the bye week. I believe we played LA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the Rams.
Yeah, we lost that one, but I remember the way we played in that game.
Okay.
And I feel like the guys really saw what we could be, and we really just bought in and buckled down and said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make it work.
So, Boye, you have 1 day left of minicamp, and then you get a nice little break coming up before training camp. Do you go relax? Are you going to go somewhere? What are the plans that you have coming up to kind of get away from football for a little bit?
My mindset really is just to go spend some time with my family, especially right before the season happens and before I'm not able to have the freedom to travel. Definitely going to take some time and go spend some time with my family, see some of my old friends, and really just, settle down before I ramp it back up and get ready for the season.
Yeah, I remember in Tennessee you had your nephews calling you Uncle Boye. Yeah. So that was your sister, right?
Yeah, that's my sister.
Okay, so how many siblings are there in the family?
I got 4 girls, 2 boys, and me and my brother.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you got a chance to see everybody.
Exactly. Got to find the time.
That'll be a lot of fun. Boye, well, thank you for joining us. This was a lot of fun, get to know you a little bit more and to hear about how the offseason's been. So thanks, and enjoy one more day of minicamp and then the break coming up.
Sounds good. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Boye.
All right, Seahawks outside linebacker Boye Mafe. So plenty more to talk about.